Live at Onigashima, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jimmy, and today we got a chapter 1151. That's enough. I've got this. And to start off with, I thought we were going to be done with this cover story, but I actually like this type of thing in the cover story a little bit better than what we were getting before. I feel like this cover story is actually moving again. Kind of felt like it was at a standstill for a while. So it's fun seeing Yamato do basically the exact same thing Luffy did when he was in Wano.
Yeah. I thought it was over, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I guess we're still going. We see Kawamatsu here. Yeah, we're getting kind of like a repeat. I don't know. Maybe something will develop out of this. Like, to me, this is just like, okay, cool. Next.
Yeah, but at least it's better than being at a standstill. But to get to the interesting part of the chapter, we pick up right where we left off. All the demons are, well, I guess the giant demons are kind of rampaging. Everyone's like, what is happening? How is this happening? And I heard about this last week from some people, but it's cool to see it visualized here. That the reason Emu's attack name was Reversy is that's the name of the game that you see there, where you put the pieces and they change colors, which makes me think also, like, what if there's black pieces that surround other black pieces and turn black, what if there's white pieces, aka like Gear 5 Luffy, that turn them back to normal?
Yeah.
So, but in order to do that, you would need two white pieces. So my thought on that is, I mean, Luffy obviously has one, but we haven't seen her in a while. But Bonnie's still on the island, and Bonnie can go Gear 5, like we know.
That's true.
So
I think it's
what if
almost,
she can start turning people back?
Yeah, I think almost it's like more of a metaphor. Like, this isn't like a literal, like, you know, this isn't. I don't know if we're like cutting away to like this. It's not Go or Shogi. What did you say? It's Reversy.
Reversy.
I don't think we're literally like cutting back to the board. That's like in real. I think it's like a metaphor or whatever. To me, it's like a metaphor that, you know, obviously, what you said, like Joy Boy versus Emu, dark and light. You know, Emu turns people dark, and then like Joy Boy liberates people. And I think that it doesn't need to literally be Bonnie, but it could be just like anybody that's on Luffy's side that's like a believer. So like, you know, Zoro and Sanji could be there and be like light pieces that like can't be flipped, or like who can't be flipped, you know, like what if Loki is too strong and can't be flipped? I heard this interesting theory of like, you know how we talked about you know, this could have been what happened to the giants that Loki fought, you know, way back when like King Harold died. We don't know like why that didn't work on, like, if that's the case, like why that didn't work on Loki. So like, I don't know if it's because he's too strong, or is it because he believes he's Nika and so he can't do it. I also heard an interesting theory that like maybe the reason why Harul has like the sword in his head is because that is something that like Loki did to him to like prevent this flipping from happening. But I don't know. I like the idea of it being like a more metaphorical thing.
Well, I agree. I do think it is more metaphorical. I don't think the board is literally there.
For sure.
But I do see people like switching sides consistently based on like who's helping them and who's around them. And that was kind of one of the big things with the Luffy, right? Like, he's able to turn people to his side constantly. And now we're kind of just seeing the reverse of that, where Emu's able to flip people to his side, not necessarily through like motivation and his goodwill, but more by force in this case.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the cool things about this chapter also is we actually see Qilingam is not just some random dragon dude. He's actually like a complete zone. We see him in his hybrid form here. And I think the big thing everyone's going to be talking about is, if you look at him, he kind of looks like a fisherman, which is like, we talked about it before with Qilingam, where it's like, well, if he is actually a dragon, why is he part of the Gods Knights? Because aren't they kind of racist and only like other celestial dragons who are like human and stuff? But I mean, same thing now applies if he's a fisherman, right? Why did they let a fisherman on? But then they've been so like cruel to other fishermen in the past too.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, like what he says here. He's like, "This is your doing, Elbaf. You brought these monsters into this world." And it's like, don't you think that the celestial dragons like think that of you, bro? If you're a fisherman, that you're like a monster of this world. I don't know what like makes him the exception. I can only imagine he's a fisherman, like the teeth. Right, he's got like the lips, like the eyes. You know, some people think that like the little squiggles on the side there are like gills even, and it looks like he's a fisherman, right? So, and then also of note, like this is another mythical dragon fruit, just like Kaido's, right? But just another version, I guess. This one seems honestly almost more powerful, but one interesting note that I kind of just thought of is that like Kaido's fruit was in the possession of the celestial dragons at first, we know, because it was like a prize at God Valley. And then this guy is obviously like with the celestial dragons as well, so I wonder if they're hoarding specifically like mythical dragon fruits. Like they're called celestial dragons. I don't know if there's a connection there.
Yeah.
But...
And I think it's interesting that they're like all different types of dragons. Like there's a lot of different types of dragons in mythology. We saw like Kaido is more of like the Chinese type dragon. Like this is more of Japanese mythology here with the Kirin. And the other one that we haven't seen yet is like kind of the more like European and American like dragon. Like the ones we kind of saw in Punk Hazard, right? And we saw they were trying to recreate those already, which we also know they're trying to recreate devil fruits there. So they're probably trying to recreate all types of dragon devil fruits.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that plays into like maybe what happened in the past. Like, did they get defeated by dragons? Were they working with dragons on their side? Like, obviously there's some big connection here that we're starting to unravel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this has got to be like this is like one of the most powerful fruits. I mean, he looks awakened too, is another big note. I would think that just from this, and I think a lot of people underestimated Qilingam because of, you know, his goofy nature or whatever, but like he really has been, out of all of them, putting in kind of the most work. I mean, I think Gunko also put in a lot of work. To me, the ranking of these people in strength-wise is Qilingam, Gunko, and then Sommers, and then obviously like Gunko Emu form would be like on top because he's going crazy right now. But like I think that this guy is, I don't know who's gonna end up taking him down or like what the matchup is gonna be. It'd be interesting if he was a Fishman, if like Jinbei actually like did something finally.
Yeah, I mean, we see Jinbei here still just like, I'm stuck. This is out of control. If only somebody could do something. Yeah. Like, bitch, you do something.
Yeah, for real, bro. Come on. Usopp like cries out to them, to Dory and Brogy, and like I think that's gonna be maybe a little setup for later on. Everybody expects Usopp to be getting something, right? I don't know where this is gonna go, where like if this is gonna like blow up into like the big fight of Elbaf and the Elbaf arc is gonna end, or if it's like this is like the middle of the arc and it's gonna keep going. I mean, there's a lot of things that haven't been wrapped up yet. Like we don't know all this stuff with Shanks that keeps on getting brought up. Usopp hasn't had his moment. We don't know about, you know, whatever Loki's backstory is with like rocks and like what happened with Harold, and so there's just like so many things that aren't like wrapped up yet that I'm sure could spill into other arcs. But kind of going a little further into the chapter, we got to talk about like the guys that are going to show up. So
I mean, and you were completely right about this before, right? Like Chopper jumped after Gaban, like we speculated it last week, and you're like, it just makes sense. Like he wants the secrets, so he needs to save somebody with the secrets. And I thought it was really funny how Chopper's like, wait, what am I doing? Why the hell did I just jump off here? But he saves it. He turns into a motorcycle midair, and he's able to save Gaban. And then the interesting part to me is like how Luffy's like, oh, look, it's Chopper, and then he's like, wait a minute, how the hell did I know that was Chopper? Like, that just shows like how much stronger his observation Haki is thinking. Sure. But also I think it's an akin to like the voice of all things. And I don't know if like Loki kind of acknowledging it kind of signifies maybe he might have it also. But I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Loki almost certainly has some form of observation Haki or voice of all things or something. Yeah. I mean, the bandages over his eyes, like he's got to be able to sense it at some point. But I think that like Luffy kind of unknowingly getting like better and better observation Haki is cool. So they go to find them. Yeah, Chopper obviously goated as hell here. Like I'm glad that
better than Jinbei.
Dude, 100%. Like Chopper is like one of the ones that has been getting like some really good focus in this arc. Like I feel like Oda's done a good job of like diversifying and paying attention to like some of the like mid-tier and lesser tier like straw hats here. Jinbei being the exception. But
well, he was supposed to be a high tier. That's why he's throwing him off to the wayside.
Oh, bro. I mean, maybe. But you know, they go get Chopper, and we see this. This is kind of a weird thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about, but I kind of want to talk about it. Is like this conversation that Loki has with this character I kind of forgot on the Denden Mushi Mosa. I had thought at first that this Denden Mushi kind of like had the beard of like Saturn or whatever, and one of my first thoughts, and I know Saturn's dead, and I know that's not Saturn, but one of the first things I thought was that, you know, Emu had said a couple chapters ago, like, oh, the Holy Land is on fire, like there's turmoil there right now. What if that's what this snail is like talking about? And he's like, oh, I have to go like take care of something, like you're not gonna hear from me for a while. Maybe he's in the Holy Land. Maybe this is like Loki's connection to the Holy Land in some way.
See, I actually think more of like kind of what I thought when he was first introduced, where Mosa to me sounds like he could be Jarul, and that's just a different name that he has for him. And I think they've been kind of secretly working together. And it kind of goes with what you said earlier in the chapter, where it's like, oh, maybe the reason like he has the sword stuck in his head is because Loki did that to turn him back. And so they've kind of secretly been in cahoots with each other. And it doesn't really look like Loki's been like trying that hard to get out of these like the chains forever until very recently. So I wonder if it was like kind of a plan with both of them to be able to like put him there to get framed for this stuff, because we also see him talking in this chapter to Harudin, like the conversation we saw last time, like, do you really think I was the one that killed Dad? Like, did you think I really wanted to do that? And Harudin's kind of brainwashed and is like, of course you did, you're evil, you're Loki.
Yeah.
But we can kind of see like, especially since Harold kind of ripped out his own horns, he probably got turned into one of these demons also, and Loki had to do the unfortunate thing of killing him also.
Yeah.
So I think Mosa is going to be him, and it kind of goes with the fact like Jarul is also going through some like crazy stuff right now, like with all the demons attacking, where he's like, look, I can't talk about this, stuff's happening around me.
Well, I think my only pushback on that is that I feel like he's like saying almost like way too much for like the situation he's in. Like Jarul, when he last saw him, was like, oh my god, like, oh my god, I gotta do something like right now. And it's like, why is he? I mean, I guess like this conversation was a flashback anyway, so we'll see. I think that, yeah, it could be either, but I would personally like it better if it was like maybe like a new character that we don't know about, or maybe somebody that we do know that just like intertwines here like differently than we would have thought. But your rule is like a good that's a good theory. Like I do think that like there's some deeper connection and deeper like lost in translation things about that flashback that we need to kind of uncover. So we continue on in the chapter, and Luffy finds out that this is Scopper Gaban, and that this is like, you know, the left wing of the Pirate King. And
the third strongest on the King of the Pirates crew. Clearly stated that he is the third strongest. Despite what he might say about himself, we know, and all of the symbolism points towards it, he is the third strongest, which means Sanji is also the third strongest. Therefore, Zoro has to be the second strongest.
He doesn't let it slide, bro. He does not let it slide. It was so funny. I don't know who said this comment. Like, I don't know who was like, oh, he must be like third in charge. And he was like, no, I was second.
Which is such a Sanji thing to do also, right?
And we know like Sanji is weak.
When he's like dying, so he's like, exactly. All the puzzle pieces are going together.
The agenda piece is going crazy on this one, dude. So, well, anyways, so, you know, they finally, you know, they see this big burst of Haki or whatever, and they're all like, oh my god, like now we understand, like something's happening up there. And it seems like Loki's gonna like go up too. He wants to, at
also
least.
Speaking of the Haki, like we said it last chapter too, it's like this Haki doesn't feel as big as like Joy Boy's because it's not really reaching them in the realm of the dead, but it clearly is now. Like this is a bigger burst than we saw last chapter. Yeah. So like he might be in contention with Joy Boy's Haki, probably still a little bit weaker because, or maybe not. But I was gonna say because he's supposed to like have been defeated by Joy Boy, but I guess he kind of did defeat Joy Boy, right? Otherwise, this whole story wouldn't be happening.
Well,
so this is probably maybe stronger than Joy Boy's Haki.
It could have been. I think that like the whole thing with Joy Boy is like, I think that Joy Boy probably was stronger than Emu, and then something might have happened. There was maybe a betrayal, or there was like some sort of I don't know.
Fishermen betrayed him, and that's why their Qilingam exists, because he was part of the family of the fishermen that betrayed him.
I don't know, man. Like a Judas situation, something that would have made it so that like, I think more of like Odin's situation. You know, like Odin was probably strong enough to like beat Kaido if he needed to, and then he got like tricked and like fucked over. So like, you know, and Odin was a very like Joy Boy-esque character. Like he was kind of like foreshadowing the coming of Luffy and Joy Boy and all that. So I think that is probably also a foreshadow of like whatever happened in the past with Emu. So I don't want to say like directly like, oh, Joy Boy's Haki is like a little less than Emu. Another thing too is like that was just a knot of Joy Boy's Haki. That was like, and it was from 800 years ago. Like this is Emu, right? Like this is like obviously, you know, another toned down version of it because this is like
I was gonna say
Emu.
Exactly. Like this is not actually Emu. This is Emu taking over somebody's body.
But it's like both of those things were like not the real thing. You know what I mean? Like this is not the real Emu, and that was not the real Joy Boy. So like there's Oda's doing this thing where it's like we can't necessarily say one is higher than the other, but you know,
like with Zoro and Sanji, where we can clearly say Zoro is stronger than Sanji.
Dude. But yeah, so like I don't know, like I think now Luffy and them are gonna like go up. I think one interesting theory I saw too is like I don't know how Loki is just gonna like be in the condition to like go up and fight now, but Chopper's here now and he might be able to use that like miracle drug that he used on Zoro and Wano, which would be cool if he has it. So
that's true, because I mean, and we got the best doctor now also, so even if he doesn't have that exactly, like he'll be able to fix up Loki faster than whatever they were doing now, because they're like, oh, it'll take 6 months to fix these wounds. Yeah, right. Yeah, Loki's gonna be fine. He's gonna go up and fight like you said,
there, dude. Yeah, come on.
The only fraud I see here is Haruden being like, oh guys, let's go up and fight them. Like bro's gonna get demolished.
Bro thinks he's in the club. He got he extreme diff fought Mock Vice, bro.
It was only Mock Vice stuff when he thinks he can go against Emu.
He can't even go against Dory or Brogy, bro. He's gonna get washed. He's gonna get stepped on
easily.
Well,
the one last thing I want to say though is I really like Luffy's confidence. Is even though he's like, damn, like kind of concerned, he's like, there's no way I can't beat this. Like I got this. Yeah. And Loki's kind of the same way. He's like, yo, this looks like a fun fight. Like this guy's ridiculous. Yeah. Like you guys are definitely gonna need me.
Yeah, so they're in it. They're ready to fight. I mean, it's gonna be interesting seeing like I think that needs to happen, like the Luffy versus like the early Emu, so we can kind of get a taste of what's to come. I don't know if he's gonna heal Scopper Gaban in the same way. I don't think Scopper's like getting back up right now, to be honest. But he's surviving. I think.
I mean, probably not for this arc. He's probably gonna survive.
At least not for this fight. You know what I mean? But
yeah, agreed.
But anyways,
I mean, overall though, this chapter very good. It does look like we're going into a flashback, by the way. Like I know this gray paneling is more to signify like, oh, we're in the realm of the dead. But I also think, because they kind of hinted at it here too, like Loki's backstory. Yeah. And usually before the big fights in a series, we get the backstories of everybody. So I think we're like in the next few chapters, we're probably going to transition into Loki's backstory and see what that is, which is great because one of the great things about this chapter also, and hopefully we don't get it wrong again.
Say it.
But no break next
week.
No
break next week. Yeah, I know. I mean, we've been last time we were right, I guess, right? So we're getting another chapter next week. It's a good week for One Piece. A good month for One Piece. And you know, we'll be here on the next one. So like, comment, subscribe, and don't fight us in the comments. I mean, I know we're talking shit about Zoro.
They're gonna fight us in the comments. All the Sanji fanatics are gonna come out and be wrong in the comments.
Oh my god, so. The thumbnail's gonna go crazy on this one.
But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.